Hey, what's up, you guys? I have a book here. We're going to get right into it, okay? So, fear affects us in many different ways. Um, you can see basically what you're fearful about. And if you say this statement, I don't want blank, whatever comes out of whatever comes after I don't want is most likely what you're fearful of subconsciously, such as I don't want to lose the job. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to uh, be without a work. I don't want basically implies that we have came into agreement with the enemy's implications on our lives. You have came into basically agreement that the fear is possible to manifest into your life because God sees us bigger. And God questions why we think of ourselves so small. For example, when you say, I don't want to lose the job, you're basically already foreseeing that if you lose the job, you won't have any means to sustain yourself. Or if you lose the job, you won't be able to pay your bills. We do not live off bread alone, but we live through the Holy Spirit. He always provides for us. So it basically implies that we are fearing something. We have been taken aback by God, by the God we grew up on, by the God our parents, our grandparents worshipped, the principles and the belief systems that they followed. We knew that, hey, when God's angry, he may cause havoc. We know that God judges very harshly. You better follow your 10 commandments or you're not going to heaven. We did not learn about the other side of God, the enlightened side of God. We all have our good side, bad side, quote unquote, or we all have that dark side or that side where if we have to lay the law down, we're going to lay the law down. And if we have to be the bad guy, we will be the bad guy. But we also have this part to us that is happy, joyful, enlightened, sweet. If you stay on the right side, right? So we didn't really learn about the enlightenment and the promises that God has for us in the New Testament. And to be honest, we just did not claim our promises. We didn't claim the promises that God has for us. So, for example, if you win the lottery and you have the winning ticket, but you just didn't go claim your winnings yet, you didn't win. You didn't win until you turn in that ticket and claim your prize. So the ticket would necessarily be voided and you wouldn't win if you figure out later on in life that, hey, I won and you didn't claim it. It would make you probably upset at yourself that you didn't see it right in front of you. You didn't see the promises or the wins right in front of you. God's promises is at our fingertips, meaning in the Bible, all we got to do is thumb through the Bible with our fingertips and God's promises, it's right there. We already have the winning ticket as human beings, as God children. We just have to claim our winnings. We have to claim it. Again, why think of yourself so small? This is how far you think you are able to go when you say, I don't want to, or I don't want this to happen, or I don't want these things to happen. It shrinks the vision God has for you. God has plenty of different options, but we're so focused on the options that has already been presented to us. We're not thinking above and beyond like God does in his enlightened period. So speak and declare over your life whenever those thoughts come up. Speak life, declare, I'm not going to lose this job. And um, I thank God for a stable job. I thank God for a job that sustains me. And if, even if it doesn't work out, even if God, may wants to switch jobs for me, it's all working out for the greater good. God is my author. God is writing my story. God does everything in the best interest for me. Now, if you claim those things, if you claim it, then that is what it is. But if you don't claim it, you won't understand the promises and the goodness God already has planned for you. Don't waste good life paralyzed by the enemy's dictation of who you will become. You are literally marked by God. Claim your mark. The enemy's plan won't prosper. They might form, but they will not prosper. You are already marked by the Holy Spirit once you accept him into your life and start accepting his promises. He has so much for us, but we have to accept it. If we don't read the Bible, we can't accept it. If we don't listen to what God says to us, we can't accept it. We have to allow what God has for us to come into us. And sometimes, it's okay, but we have more faith in the enemy's opinions for my life rather than faith in the author of my life. We're having faith in the enemy and his plans for my life, but we're not having faith in the author who actually is creating and writing, co-creating with me. That is who we should have faith in, not an enemy who lies, cheats, steals. He's not even to be trusted. So why believe anything he has to say? We believe that the enemy can take away God's promises. We believe that the enemy can take it away. He can take away whatever you're trying to preserve, and like God says, those who lose his life for him gains it. So we have to stop trying to preserve things and lose it to gain life, which is to have faith in God. We will gain life, right? Speak to it. Speak to that situation. Speak to it. And let the enemy know that you're not going to do your big one on me, baby. God has a different plan, and you're going to have to. This was what in Sarah Jake Roberts, she was saying, the enemy is going to have to work around me. I'm not going to have to live my life around him. He's going to have to live his life around me and God's promises that if anything ever comes around, it's coming around the protection God has for me. Now, whatever happens, I'm in the midst of God. I'm just going to pray harder. I'm just going to clap harder. I'm just going to worship harder. The devil will never win. So his tactics will never prosper. The weapons may form, but it will not prosper to what he wanted it to be. Now that means you have to have deep faith in God and real true faith that's unbreakable and unshakable. And like I said, I'm working on building that faith. And I think this is a theme within the community of spirituality, building that faith muscle, because I know there's more to come in this world, and we have to have faith. If we don't have it, we will be terrified about everything that's going on around us. God said, you may see tens of thousands fall beside you, but it will not touch you. When those words are not just words, these are God's promises. God has a promise for me. Let me let the enemy know God has a promise for me. God has certain things that he's going to put in my life, and what you're saying is a lie. So I already know it's a lie. Most of the things that happen that may have been, quote unquote, not good or bad, I never was warned about it. I never was told about it. I never was prepped on it, okay? It's all a lie. The enemy wants to keep you paralyzed so you can live your life around his dictation instead of what God promised you, instead of what God said you will have in your life. You may be afraid that the enemy's plans will prosper in your life. But what did God say? No weapon formed against me shall prosper. What did God say? Be anxious about nothing, but with prayer, petition, and thanksgiving, all of your desires will be answered. Right? Right? I don't have the scriptures. It's right there, but I'm not going to do it. I don't have the scriptures. Okay. So God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we can ever think, ask, or think. Ephesians 3:20. With the power, according to the power that worketh in us. God is in us. God is around us. God is with us. So he's able to do exceedingly and abundantly. Now, when you look up those words, exceedingly, abundantly, above all we can ask or think. So whatever I'm thinking is not even big enough for what God can do for me. We have to have faith in who God is, not what God can do, but who He is as a person. For example, if you had a mentor who you really trusted, you had faith in their word, you had faith in what they told you because you knew their character, you knew who they were. But if somebody else came along, okay, and just said certain things and you really didn't trust this person, you wouldn't have faith in them, right? But we know that, hey, the devil, the enemy is mean, conniving. He wants death. He won't, he's not a good person, so he's not going to do good things. So that causes the fear like, oh, he could do something to me. But with God on your side, no weapon formed against you will prosper. And I want you to stop thinking about the weapons that the enemy is trying to throw at you. Stop thinking about the scenarios that he's trying to dictate your life to be. But this is going to happen to you, and this is going to happen to your children, and this is how your relationship is going to end, and this is how your job is going to end, and this is how your parents are going to be. Don't. You speak back to that. Build the muscle. Stop trying to get it right now, because once you build it, you will be more grateful that you built a faith muscle instead of God just giving it to you and you taking it for granted and not even realizing the blessing He actually gave you. So guys, make sure you click the like button and subscribe button for more inspirational content. This is Look, There's Hope. If you're looking for text message coaching, go ahead and text me at 904-252-9949, or you can email me and I'll be greatly appreciative of your time. Thank you.